Shalom Aleichem, everybody. Hey, this is Israel, and today we're going to be continuing with our series in Hilchos Channukah, in the lighting, the laws of celebrating Hanukkah. And before that, just to give you a little teaser to the end, the sages asked a very good question. They asked if there was enough oil to light for one day, and the miracle actually is indeed 7 days. So why don't we celebrate for 7 days? Why is Hanukkah 8 days? So at the end, stay tuned, and I'm going to go ahead and give you some answers. There's a book written there, Lamea, The Light of 100, that has over 100 different answers to this question. And so I'm going to go ahead and give you a few of these. Stay to the end and you'll find out. Now, let's go ahead and talk about lighting the Hanukkah candles, and we're going to ask a little bit about what are some kind of proper candles to light, and then also we're going to ask the proper time. Now, we're reading from the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, the abbreviated code of Jewish law, and we are in paragraphs. We're going to be reading, God willing, paragraphs 9 and 10. So paragraph 9, Seif test. Bishura achas b'shaveh. So the lights should be placed in an even row. Okay. Lo echad gavoah ve'echad namuch. So not one of the candles or lights higher and not one lower. V'yu havsek ben ner lener shelo yiskarev halaav shel zeh lezeh v'yeh kamo medura. So enough space should be between the lights so that the flames will not merge and become like a torch. So the Mishnah Berurah, the work, the work written by the Chofetz Chaim, Rabbi Yisrael Meir Kagan, says that the space between the candles or the lights should be at least an etzba, a finger's width. So the idea is that you don't want the candles to merge, or whatever lights you're using, whether it's oil, wicks, or whatever it is, and become a torch. So it also talks about now specifically wax candles. Menorah shalva and wax candles. Ye hevsek shelo yizchameim ze mizeh v'sito hashalva yizkalkalov. And so you don't want the wax candles need to be separated, again, by an etzba, by the width of a finger, so they'll not become heated from each other and cause the wax to melt and become spoiled. So you have to be very careful in a lot of Hanukkah menorahs, because the issue really is the candle itself burning, or is the candle that's next to it giving more heat and then burning that candle. So again, they should, as long as they're the two candles or the two lights are separated by a finger's width, then they say that that's enough. So continuing on, it says milei ka'ara shemen v'hikipa b'silais. So if one were to put a dish and put oil and then put wicks all around. Now this sounds kind of odd to us, because we're used to having the Hanukkah menorah and it has all the branches, etc. But you have to remember that the actual mitzvah from the Talmud is this: to light one candle per man of the household. That's it. So that technically is the mitzvah. Now there's multiple ways you can do that. So if you just didn't have a candelabrum for one reason or another, and you're saying, I'm just going to get a bowl and I'm going to fill it with oil, and I'm going to put some wicks in it. Okay, is that kosher? So this is what the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, the abbreviated code of Jewish law, says. Im kafa aleha kli. So if you fill the dish with these wicks, and fill the dish with oil, put wicks in it, and you place some kind of perforated cover on it, then it says from that point, kol pesila ola bishvil ner echad. So then each one of these wicks that's through this kind of perforated, whether it's like, maybe you put some tinfoil, you put the bowl with tinfoil, and then the wicks are like kind of punching through, then each wick is considered on its own. So that's fine. So if you wanted to, remember that has to be in a straight line, and there has to be a finger's breadth between the wicks. So then that would be fine. Now, let's see here. I lost my place. Lo kafa aleha kli Afilu ner echad eina ola lefisha hi kimdura. So, however, if you do not place such a cover on it, it does not even count as one light. Why? Because it resembles a torch, because you have too many lights. And again, the whole idea is that you want to have one light separate for each day, to mark each day. And if the lights kind of intermingle too much, then the question is it its own single light, or have you created something different, which is called a menorah, a torch? Ner sheyesh lo shnei piyos, Oyoser. So what about if you have some kind of a candle situation or something like that that has more than one wick, meaning at different ends or something of that nature? Lo yadliku voy shnaim afilu b'layla harishain. So the lamp that has two or more branches should not be kindled by two persons, even on the first night. Why? Because it says mishum the delika haker kameneros madlikin, because there's no way to exactly tell how many candles were lit for that night. So the question is, did you actually light two candles for that night, or was there just one? Now the Mishnah Berurah comments that this is true when there are only two branches in the menorah. Our menorahs, however, have 8 branches and may be used simultaneously by two persons, each lighting at opposite ends. So that's kind of an odd thing even in itself that we don't do today. So now we're going to get to the time of the Hanukkah lighting. Zman hadlaksan. So the time to light the menorah, miyad b'tzeitza kochavim, is immediately after the stars appear. Those who follow the halachic decisions of the Vilna Gaon customarily light the candles at sunset. So sunset, there are two opinions at least here. This is a little bit of a take off of the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, that sunset is what we count as nightfall. However, most people say that there has to be 3 stars that appear, so it has to be actual nightfall, because we have such a time between what we'll call dusk and actual nightfall. And the question is that counted as actual nightfall, or is it just kind of an in-between mixture and it's not definitely nightfall? So the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, Rabbi Shlomo Ganzfried, says no, you have to wait till there are 3 stars that appear, and so that definitely is going to be, it's definitely nightfall. However, the Vilna Gaon, who was a 19th century sage, we'll say, or no, I'm sorry, an 18th century sage who was previous, says that nope, just at dusk, that's okay. So continuing on, the Asur lasos shum davar kodem hahadlaka. So it's a prohibited to do anything before lighting the candles, afilu lilmod, even learning Torah. So in other words, there should be no delay. Rakim loy hispalel marif. What's the only exception to that? If one did not pray the evening prayer. Yitpalel tchila ve'achar kach yadlik. So then in that situation, somebody should pray the evening prayer first and then after light. V'kodem shiadlik yakbeitz kol b'nei veisai lefersume nisa. Lefersume v'sune milasa. And so what before lighting, what is a person to do? That they should gather their entire household in order to proclaim the event publicly. But tzarich l'seis shemen, should you pour in enough oil, she'adliku l'chol hapachos chatzi shah, you should pour in enough oil to burn at least half an hour. Now, if you do not have sufficient oil to burn a half hour, you should light them without saying the bracha. Okay, so you don't say a blessing because it's maybe the mitzvah, maybe not. So the minimum shear, the minimum amount for the candles to be lit to really count is at least half an hour. So continuing on, however, what if somebody delayed for inadvertently, or they just got home from work later, too late, or something like that, and everybody's sleeping? Suleika Pesume Nisa. So you may light them. Let me see here. I think I got lost here. I think I skipped something. So let me go back. Shalom bracha kol zman shebein beso on the orim. Okay. Let me go back. Uvidiavid im lo hidlik miyad. If, however, for whatever reason, inadvertently you delayed, like you got home from work too late or something of that nature, yachol lahadlik bivracha, you can light with a blessing, surely. Kolzman shebenei beso naorim, as long as all the children in the house are still awake. Aval the acher shebenei beso yishanim. However, if the children in the house are sleeping, su leka persume nisa v'yadlik b'loy bracha. So, if, however, the people are not awake, if the family is after the family is asleep, family is asleep, it is no longer considered a public event. You should light them without saying the bracha. By the way, I forgot to read a slight comment or a comment on the abbreviated code of Jewish law previously. If inadvertently you did not light them immediately, you may light them and say the brachot as long as the members of your family are still awake. That is until daybreak. So obviously you need to do it before daybreak of the next day. If that wasn't obvious. Okay. Ilo yeloi ponai lahadlik b'layla yachol lahadlik et atzmoi lahadlik miplug hamincha lamayla. Okay. So now we're getting into a little bit of a territory with maybe somebody who works swing shift, or somebody who works in a situation where they're going to be working much later. Then they're going to be working at night, basically, and so maybe they might go into to work while it's still daybreak, but then while it's still daylight rather, but then they're going into the night and they're working. So there is a halachic reality. There is a reality according to Jewish law that's called the plag hamincha. Plag hamincha means it's an hour and a half before daybreak, before sunset. Now, that hour and a half is calculated by halachic hours. Now, what is a halachic hour? A halachic hour is different amount of minutes depending on when the year was. So basically what you do is you count sun up and sun down, you count all that time in between, and you cut it up and chop it up into 12, and those are halachic hours. So an hour could be 45 minutes, an hour could be 90 minutes, depending on the time of year that you're in. So continuing on here, what they're saying is that if you're in a situation where you have no time to light the menorah at night, you may do it before the time and light the menorah from plag hamincha. Now, you are also permitted to say the blessing as well from that time, which is 1 1/4 hour before the stars come out. These are time variable hours, as we said, measured according to the length of daylight and etc. And in the season of Chanukah, when the days are short, the day is only 10 hours long, measured by the clock. Then Plag HaMincha is 1 hour and 2 and 1.5 minutes before the stars appear. Okay, so if that is all a little complicated, and if you work in the evening, basically you can go on Chabad.org, CHABAD.org. You can go to Zmanim, ZMANIN, ZMANIM, and you can look at the times, the halachic times, and it will give you Plag HaMincha. Plag is Plag. Mincha, M-I-N-C-H-A, usually is how it's spelled. So you can see basically, or if you have questions, you can go ahead and message me. You can message me somehow, and I'll do my best to help you. Okay, so okay, there we go. Uvimei Chanukah shahayamim. Oh no, I'm sorry, we read that part. I was like, Plag Mincha, have a sha'a echas ushtei minutes. Okay, that's fine. Continuing on here, you kindle a menorah provided you pour in enough oil. Okay. So what if it is a situation where it's an hour or so, maybe an hour and 15 minutes before sunset, and that's when you have to light the candle. You have to light it because you need to go to work, or some other matter is going to happen, and so you won't be there right at nightfall. So then what do you have to put? You have to make sure that you, let's see here, let's see, as I plug up mincha, have a shah chasushte. Okay, that's fine. We read that. Okay, uvilvad, and assuming that you can light it you can light it earlier. Sheyiten shemek kadesh yu dolkim ad chatzi sha'a lachar tseisa kochavim. So you have to be, the candles have to be long enough, or you have to place enough oil to make sure that even though you're lighting, let's say, an hour before sunset, before nightfall, that it's going to be able to burn all that time until an hour and a half after nightfall. However, this is very serious, that if you do not have the ability to do that, then actually you have not fulfilled the mitzvah. Now, to get to our question, the question review, if I have enough oil, if they had enough oil in the temple during the time of the Maccabees to light the candelabrum for one day, then why, and the miracle was that it lasted 7 more days, then why are we celebrating for 8 days? Why not celebrate for 7? Now, giving you a couple answers here that we haven't gone over. So, let's see here. Okay, so one answer is they were forbidden to extinguish the fire on the morning of the first day in order to conserve oil, yet the oil continued burning through the 8th evening. So that's another answer. The 8th day is celebrated out of doubt, as all holidays are observed outside of Israel. So that's kind of an interesting answer. So outside of the land of Israel, we're not exactly sure of the timing, because when the temple stood, they would set the time by looking at the moon. Now we kind of have it calculated. We have a calculated calendar. However, outside of the land of Israel, we're not really so sure, because you had to set the months by looking at the moon in the state, in the nation of Israel, in Jerusalem, where the temple was located. So outside of Israel, we're not so sure. Another answer, they planned on using multiple wicks dipped in the oil, but the original wicks miraculously lasted all days. So that's another answer. So thank you very much for joining us. Have a great day in every way. God bless. And Freilich Chanukah, Chanukah Sameach, Happy Chanukah.